My name is Tori Goss, and my project is called End Poverty in England Now. The SDG that I will be addressing is SDG number 1, No Poverty. I plan to raise awareness about poverty in England by comparing the New Poor Law of the 1840s to poverty in England now, and how literary authors such as Charles Dickens use their platforms as tools to destigmatize poverty. From the introduction of the New Poor Law in 1834, England's history of the industrial period's rise has made poverty a historical and persistent widespread issue amongst the working class population. Throughout its history, the New Poor Law's central objective was to provide relief through cash or sustenance to those who were not able to support themselves independently through the labor market. Those who were considered able bodied, which were mostly men, were withdrawn from poor relief and expected to support themselves and their families. Hence, the poverty of women and children was thought to be remediable by the increased earnings of husbands and fathers. The Romantic literary period coincided with the Industrial Revolution, which brought about significant social and economic changes. Romantic literature often critiqued the dehumanizing effects of industrialization and the resultant poverty and exploitation of workers and children. It is important to address poverty in England now, as poverty can lead to a number of health risks, such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, infant mortality, dental problems, malnutrition, and mental illness. Besides increasing health risks, poverty can put considerable strain on family relationships and budgets. It has been found that the projected mean of income has dropped significantly since 2007 to 2008, with the average income in 2021 to 2022 being 15% lower. This is equivalent to more than £5,000 a year for a couple without children. A person's average annual salary has been one of the main contributions to poverty for over a century and continues to become a growing problem as earnings are important for lower income households. Like many Romantic writers, Dickens was deeply concerned with social justice and the plight of the poor. His novels often provided a stark critique of the social and economic inequalities of his time. During Charles Dickens' early life, he was also marked by poverty. When he was around 12 years old, his father was in debt, and as a result, his family was sentenced to debtor's prison, and Dickens was forced to work at a boot polish producing factory for a year. At this time, there were no child labor laws, and much of Dickens' early life was during the worst financial crash of the 19th century. It is most likely that Dickens's experiences during this period led to him empathizing with neglected children, the poor, and the disabled, and would motivate him to become an activist and write about the life of the poor in his novels. With the 1834 amendment of the Poor Laws, workhouses were established, causing Dickens to become a pioneering social reformer and speak out against the terrible living conditions, diets, and medical care that the workhouses offered. His mix of pathos and comedy in his writing quickly moved the readers and made him a literary celebrity within his life and allowed him to reach a broader audience regarding the living conditions of the poor. By examining Dickens through the lens of the Romantic literature, students can see how his work continues to expand upon Romantic tradition and using literature to engage with social issues, particularly poverty, and to advocate for empathy and reform. Poverty is still a persistent issue that has had a global impact on our economy, health, relationships, and life. Some potential solutions to address poverty in England include improving the quality of work by raising the minimum wage to £15 per hour, as well as increasing child benefits and making it universal to help eradicate child poverty. Some ways to stay informed also include stay updating on local news sources, subscribing to newsletters and publications, following organizations and advocacy groups such as Child Poverty Action Group and UN Women UK and England, and lastly, engaging with social media. There are also a number of resources and financial strategies that can help reduce poverty rates in England, such as accessing government benefits, utilizing community resources, and supporting public health programs. Overall, poverty in England is still persistent and highly stigmatized. Understanding why it's important to address poverty in England will help to destigmatize it and allow the community to come together as a whole. As well, by examining these social issues such as poverty in literary texts, this allows students to gain a deeper understanding of how Romantic literature engages with philosophical concerns and how the social issues it reflects on are still prevalent today. With this research, I was able to understand the significance of poverty in England and how literature can be used as a voice for those who may not have the accessibility to be heard. Thank you.